Hi, you're with Peter Carr and Juan Villanueva on LonghausTV. Big data is a big topic. Lots of angles with organisations trying to tackle this. It's funny, you can start a conversation about big data and invariably we end up just talking about business intelligence or some kind of visualisation. It's so much more than that. And one of the big macro drivers for big data is not data with inside the organisation, but data outside the organisation, right? And so, and a lot of what is driving that is, open access to other people's information. We're seeing a lot of commoditisation of content. A lot more people using platforms to write stuff. We have WordPress platforms, we have Wikipedia platforms, we have millions and millions of websites. So not even talking about some of that structured data coming out of organisations, but a lot of this unstructured content. There are statistics that talk about, the world, of all the information and content in the world, 80% of it is unstructured. So for an organisation looking to capture and make use of competitive differentiation or information in the context of their business in this big data world, one of the reports you've recently written is about something called Python. Python is directly related to this unstructured content movement in big data. Can you give us a quick overview of what that's about, Juan?
Python is a language that, programming language that is used basically for data science and analysts. It's pretty easy to write algorithms there and analyze data structures.
So it's algorithms for a data scientist to use to analyse unstructured content, machine-to-machine content, yes, those sorts of things.
Yes. There has a lot of libraries, contribution from the open source community.
So why would I use that?
We use that in our article. What we did was some kind of scrapping techniques to get data from the websites. Data that is not ready, available, or pre-format in Excel format or CVS format to download, but just publish in the website, in the page of the websites around other content like images, tables, and all that HTML format. So scrapping tools is a scrapping tool just for gathering what we need for every page.
So if there's a website and it has some element of content that I'm looking for to answer my particular business problem or question, then I can use these scraping techniques
exactly
to actually structure and analyze that data.
Yeah, and Python is a really easy language to write those routines. In the last one, I used just a library, public library that can be added on the top of Python, and you get the method just to get the data elements that you need from a web page. And then you can combine those elements with another website and trying to match information, kind of master data management there.
So we're pulling in data from lots of different websites about a topic that's relevant to us, so that we can then look at this broadly and make decisions, or in actual fact, in the context of this report, which is on the website, identify something like, I think the example was, if we're looking at the Academy Award winners for the last 100 years, what was the average age of male winners and female winners, to understand who are the early performers when it comes to the acting profession. Do women outperform men? And that's quite a complex business question, but when you look at the information that's available through sites like Wikipedia, IMDb, any other entertainment website, this wealth of information allows us to actually answer those complex questions.
True.
So Python is an open source based approach that allows organisations to access a large part of the world's unstructured content to answer specific questions or business problems, or to help them gather this information in a structured way, unstructured to structured, to allow them to answer questions they've never been able to answer before.
Yes, and it's a capability that can be acquired for organizations pretty easy.
Okay, so who in the organisation is going to be doing this? Surely not the business intelligence guy who's been pulling reports out of you know, the SQL environment, or is this exactly the sort of person who can be leveraging this?
Yeah, it can be. The initiative will come from the IT department, but also if there is a specialized scientist or a statistic person in the organization.
Out there in the business somewhere.
In a line of business,
yeah.
That person easily can write some algorithms in Python and,
okay,
and apply.
So, well, that's really interesting then. So from a CIO's perspective, whereas a lot of where we expect to see a lot of this activity is inside the IT organisation for people that may have specific programming language skills, understand some of this, you know, Hadoop movement that's going on. What we're also saying is we probably expect to see some viral examples of where something like Python is going to pick up in a line of business area, maybe in an engineering part of the business or any part of the business really, where these people with those skill sets can start doing their own analytics, their own business intelligence, their own you know, activities that they haven't been able to undertake before while they've waited for IT to traditionally provide them with a service.
Yeah, and the fact that it's an open source language makes things pretty easy. You can just set up a virtual machine using an open source virtual appliance, put some Linux version, Ubuntu or SUSE or whatever you want, Red Hat, and just install Python. Python also can run on Windows, Mac, so it's a multi-platform language, and you don't have to spend anything on license. And all the community around Python just has contributed with many libraries and additions to the language that you can do whatever you want. There is the scientific community has support many mathematical routines and libraries. And now Python can be converted into something more specialized for statistics or pure mathematics as MATLAB or R or Minitab can do with the statistics. So it's a broad use you can do.
And so, look, you've written a great report on this, and in the spirit of the open source community, it's freely available. It's kind of like a mini tutorial. We provide downloadable files around the example that you've used to demonstrate this Python technique. And so Python, obviously going to be an important part of big data. We'll probably expect to see enterprise versions of it in years to come, but this is freely available now, and certainly something that organisations should start tinkering with to get access to all the world's information that is freely available today. Thanks, Juan.
Thank you.